Maybe I'm cutting you.
Oh yeah, this is the part where people need to understand why players in the music industry price their work the way they do. It's a very touchy subject,
Yeah.
but when in class I talk to my students about this, how they price and value their work. It's very sad that someone has to come to me and tell me, Hendrick, I want you to produce a full track end to end. So I wear all those hats that I've talked about, and they want to pay me 10K. It's an affront. It's like, no, acha tatuikae.
Hello. Welcome back to This is ADMI. I am your host, Sado. And across from me is Hendrick Sam. I'm saying that so that you can shika his sonic logo so that you don't miss a song that he's done. We are going to get into that in a minute. But up to this point, my fellow sound engineers, we have learned about the technicalities of the capture process. We had a very, very long, very informative session on manipulating the sound and what goes into it. And it's interesting because all this time it's a step-to-step breakdown of this is what should happen, and this it's like a tour, but we don't have the technique. And for you to get the technique, guys, that's when you come to ADMI. Because I was thinking, when you use the ugali metaphor, for example, the ugali. I call avocado tools because for obvious reasons. So ugali tools, skuma, and mayai.
Yeah.
All that put together, like you can have someone make that, but they still don't have the talent to make it. And you did mention how that affects even the sound process.
Yeah.
So, but guys, talent is a pursued interest. You can come as green and as knowledgeable as myself. And let me tell you, if I hone down on this thing for the next 3 years, I will give Hendrick a run for his money. Facts or facts?
We'll see about that.
Well, I won't do it, definitely. So we'll never know. But I'm just encouraging you guys. There is more to this than what you're hearing.
Yeah.
That being said, we are now going into the next part of our mini curriculum, which is the play it back session, or the phase, or the whatever we choose to call this.
Yes.
This is where your passion becomes a profession. This is where creativity finds direction. This is ADMI, and I am Sido. Take it away, Hendrik.
Take it away. Yeah, so we've captured this thing well. We've done everything we can to make it balanced and mixed it well. Now you understand what mixing is. Either I'm doing it live or in studio. I will focus on the studio one because that's where majority of the work happens, in a matter of speaking, with the amount of songs that are in the market. Now we have the playback, the person who is responsible for making sure that what you guys hear at the end of the day sounds good. And it will sound good on your phone, it will sound good on your earbuds, on your earphones, on your headphones, on big systems, in clubs, in houses of worship, doesn't matter. It will sound good there. This person, we call this person the mastering engineer.
Chill. So every phase or step you've been explaining has their own mini professional under sound engineering. So I'm assuming if this mastering engineer is the one who thinks about the play it back phase, who is the one who cares about the manipulate phase?
Mixing engineer.
Who's the one who's on top of the capture thing?
Recording engineer.
There is an engineer.
Yes.
Oh my God. You see, you can become an engineer. Listen, leave physics alone. Come do sound.
Yeah. Civil engineering is not the only engineering that exists. Yeah. So there are engineering facets in all these.
Specializations.
So the specializations in all these. So you have the recording engineer who will now focus a lot on the capturing process. You have the mixing engineer who will focus on the mixing process. And you have the mastering engineer who will focus on the final polish of this music.
Where do you specialize? I'm sorry for us.
I am all of them.
Digressing.
I am all of them.
So you don't have like a specific one you prefer? Ama you do it all? Okay, well.
I do it all. because you do recording engineering and you realize, okay, I want to know what happens to the things that I record, and then you go into that rabbit hole, and you go into mixing, and you think, I want to know what happens once it leaves the mixing station, and you find yourself in mastering. And even if you decide to just do engineering, you'll be like, I want to know what is going on in the minds of the people who are making the music. So you go to music production. And in music production, you can jump into several facets as well. You can become the person who handles the ideas, the songwriter. You can become a composer, the person who puts these things together, an arranger who arranges the structure of the music. That's the ideation stage. You can become the orchestrator who decides what instruments are going to play what and where and when. What instrumentation is going to be used. That's the music production. All this for a song.
A 3-minute song.
A 3-minute song. Depending on how complex the music is. Some just need a vocal and a guitar. Others need a whole orchestra. You know? So you find yourself in all these rabbit holes where you decide, okay, am I a beat maker? Am I an orchestrator? Am I an arranger? Am I just generally a composer? Am I a lyricist?
But I'm assuming your suggestion is to try it all and then see what fits.
Yeah. Or if you know what exactly you're looking for, go in and become a geek. So now in the sound engineering side, we have those 3 big ones.
Interesting.
Recording engineer, mixing engineer, and a mastering engineer.
Well, that answers the question for us, the public.
Yes.
When it comes to things like, we just hear, akanimixia alafu akamaster. Akasoma akaielewa, mastering means something completely different for us.
Yeah.
So now that makes sense. So take us through not the complexity, but break it down for us.
Yeah, what happens in the mastering process? Well. Let me check my talking points. So nisi wadanganya. Yo. So the mastering engineer will take the final mix that the mixing engineer has done and enhance it further. So the mixing engineer will push this music as far as he or she can with regards to balance, sonic integrity, how the thing sounds, how it feels, the emotions that are being portrayed, the musicality, push it to the max and milk as much out of it as you can so that whoever is going to listen to it will enjoy the detail and the big picture. A mastering engineer will come in, and if we go back to our the perspective of capturing a video, you have the person who is capturing the video, you have the editor, and then you have the person who finalizes this thing. Who is that person? Who will come in and take the work of an editor and polish it up?
In our world.
In your world.
Well, so it's, editors come in different. If it was film and TV, there's something else completely different. Yes. But for us, that is the distributor. So that's the person that takes the work and then customizes it to the different social platforms and puts it out in a way that's, it can be the same type of content, but it's customized for TikTok, for Instagram, for LinkedIn, and whatever.
Yes.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah, so the mastering engineer will also think like that. This music is going to Spotify. Spotify, their audio playback engine works like this.
Oh, yes.
How can I make sure that the music that is going to be released is going to work not against Spotify's system, but with it so that we can get the most out of it. Same for Apple, same for YouTube, same for Tidal, same for whatever streaming platform you're thinking about.
Interesting. So, okay, bringing another example from my industry. Sorry, guys, I'm selfish and I'm limited to my experience and exposure, as is everyone else. So, for example, let me use a basic layman nini that people can understand. TikTok video uploads have to be in what we call a 9:16 ratio. That's the vertical video, the long one like this. So if I'm taking a video from YouTube to Instagram, I have to edit it again and then put it on TikTok the way the TikTok algorithm will favor it.
Yep.
In the captions, there's a maximum word count, there's a minimum word count. There are things I can do to like every platform is different. You just have to learn it individually as it is. So is the mastering so does that mean there are different versions of the same thing that are released? So, for example, if it's going to be released on Spotify, I'm assuming the Spotify, the company itself is aware that people are going to listen to this maybe on their phones, in their cars. So they are the ones that thought of headphones and Bluetooth speakers and things like that. And so the people, so they when they put like a certain standard for you have to, it has to be at least this heavy or blah 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 blah. So I'm just assuming, is this person basically just a distributor making sure that we're releasing different versions of the same thing customized to different platforms? Ama you release one thing that is universally acceptable?
Good question. Instead of thinking of the mastering engineer like a distributor, think of them as quality assurance, quality control. Yes. So let's maximize the quality of this music, and then, if need be, create different versions for the different platforms. You can make one that functions in all of them.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That one is an art in and of itself. Or iTunes, this is what I mean, Apple Music, this is how I need to package the music so that it translates well there. Then I do a version for Spotify. Then I do a version for YouTube. That you can go either direction. But if you think of it as quality assurance, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Now I think I understand. Is there anything else under this?
Yes. Oh, plenty. One thing I want to latch onto from your world is the colorist. Yeah. Fine, I can shoot a video and vile tu iko. But then if I give it to someone who will enhance the color of the video,
it changes everything.
Changes everything.
Yeah.
Mastering engineer also thinks like that. He or she is enhancing the sonic color, if I can use that term, of what you're going to hear at the end. So the mixing engineer has given the mastering engineer the music with a particular framework of balance of you remember the bass, mids, and highs.
Yes.
Mastering engineer will come and enhance that a little more. Just if I focus on this part of the mids and I push it, the vocal will be heard better slightly. If I push the highs here or all of it like this using this particular tool, it will enhance the clarity that the mixing engineer has already put into the work. Same for the bass. If I stabilize the volumes of the entire song like this, or the bass, mids, highs like this, I'll just push the quality a bit more. And then something else that a mastering engineer will focus on is the loudness of the song. How ultimately loud it's going to be. Because you don't want a situation where you upload your music to Spotify, someone finds it in a playlist, or they're cycling through the music and yours sounds softer than the one that comes before or after.
Yes.
We don't want, how we put it in our industries, I don't want the audience to reach for their volume knob.
Oh, I do that a lot.
Yes. Now that's the mastering engineer's work to make sure that it can play at the same level with already what exists in the industry, so that we have seamless playback, seamless experience for the person listening. It's even more work if you're thinking of it from an album perspective or an EP perspective. Here we were thinking about just one song. Now think of it as an album. And the mixing engineer, the recording engineer has to record an album. The producer has to produce the album. The mixing engineer has to mix an album, and the mastering engineer has to master an album. So all those things we've talked about, every song. And they have to think of them in such a way that whatever order of these songs is going to happen is going to flow nicely into each other, both musically and sonically. So even the mastering engineer is thinking, how will this song transition to this one? The music producer is thinking, how will this one transition to this one? The engineer is thinking, is the quality of balance the same all through, where every song can stand on its own, but if I listen to them as a pack or a body of work, it also makes sense.
Allow me to ask.
Yes.
Since you brought up albums.
Oh boy.
And I hope I'll remember to go back to where this conversation was.
Okay.
As a consumer, I've never understood the logic behind albums. especially because I never listen to entire albums.
Mm-hmm.
You get
Mm.
at the taking it back to those CD days, the DVD, whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We knew an album to be whatever we knew an album as what a musician will release, and then it's like 12 songs, it has their picture there and whatever.
Yeah.
And that's like an album, and in that album I like 3 songs.
Yes.
So in the digital age of where I'm not going to get like one piece of hardware that has just your 12 songs, where is the place for that? I don't get it. Is it done just for the sake of the musician to feel like they released an album?
Not really. If we latch onto the why of the album, generally speaking, artists will do albums to tell a story or a set of stories from a lyrical perspective.
So my curiosity is this. I understand that.
That part.
Yes, but and forgive me for generalizing my experience, is that I have never gotten an album, listened from song 1 to song 10, and I'm like, this album, my goodness. I understand. Because, for example, one of the people we work with is a former musician.
Yeah.
And they were talking about how, like, this song plays into this one, and then the like, there's a song that's supposed to be like the
interlude in between, yes.
So
yes.
I'm like, we don't receive it like that. Ama, you just do it for the sake of you're outputting it that way. You don't care what the society is picking it up as.
Yeah, sometimes it's the vision of the artist and the needs of the audience are mismatched.
Okay.
So something I tell artists I work with as we are finishing up or working on music is we need to be very careful on making sure that the needs of the audience and what you want, your creative expression, are aligned. Because what tends to happen is sometimes the artist wants a lot of creative independence that audiences do not relate with. Other times, it's the artist leaning too much into the relatedness of the audience, and they forget you're still an artist. You still have your own unique voice. So when an artist is putting out an album, they have to figure out that. So what has been happening is artists have been leaning too much on one or the other end. But there are albums out there that you will listen to, and the intention of the order, the lyrics, the musicality is so obvious. You can tell this person put a lot of work.
Yes.
But that now is down to the quality of the vision for the entire album. Yes.
Okay, well, I think I think that kind of it answers my question. It doesn't solve the problem.
It doesn't solve the problem. So to solve the problem is all the players involved in the crafting of the album need to figure out what their vision for this album is.
And is it that albums are not entirely marketed? Because let me tell you, I have a set of musicians I absolutely love. But even when you listen to the interviews and then they're like, like this and this album, I'm like, so first of all, did you release singles and then decide that collectively after all this, this is now going to be called an album?
Yeah.
Or did you have this in mind? They talked. It's the same way we think about, what's the word? The same way we think about, like, I understand why that would make sense in film, because in film we have series, you get, because one episode cannot stand without the other, and it's marketed as a series.
Yes.
I know I'm receiving it as a unit, you get.
Yes.
But now with albums, they're called singles for a reason. They can survive on their own. We love some more than others.
Yeah.
So I don't understand. I feel like musicians are stuck in their own cocoon where things make sense for themselves, like for that small community of musicians.
Yeah.
But for the rest of us as consumers, I'm like, I just like this song. I don't know if you're getting my
I get what you're
here.
saying. Yeah. God. Commodification of music and the social aspect of music and music creation is what I think dictates some of these practices. Because the typical fashion in which albums are released is, let me release a single that is big so that it gives attention to the album. So the single will be marketed and worked on very heavily at the expense of the full body of work. And I like that, Nini, the example that you've given of if you're thinking of a series, you can't just market one episode.
Yes.
You have to market the entire story
Yes.
that you're gonna tell. Which is why I was saying, if artists and the players that they are working with can actually sit down and strategize like that and say every song in this album matters. How
Yes.
can we maximize our creative output into these things so that they can all stand as I can say I have a favorite episode, but I can't do without the rest if I want to understand the story. Yes.
Yeah, and I think another thing that would work is this. It's a traditional thingy, but we put it down. It's remember old music videos. It will start with artist so and so,
Yeah.
da 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 da, song title so and so, album.
Yeah.
So as a kid, I always read album, album, album. So I knew this is part of something bigger. But nowadays, music videos have kind of lost that. So I just see it as a single through and through. I don't care what album it's part of because again, it's not marketed that way. So this is just a suggestion for any music producers, any what I think video producers on this side.
Yeah.
That would help.
That would also help
Yes.
because even when I'm thinking, and if I had talked about music production, I would have said when I'm making music, I'm thinking about how I can inspire the videographer, the director, to come up with ideas that match the production. Even when I'm mixing, same.
I love that.
Same.
Interesting. So we were at the plate backstage,
Yeah.
the mastering engineer.
Yes.
I don't know where I picked this up from.
Album. We talked about the album and how a
Oh,
master
yes,
engineer
yes,
also
the
has to,
loudness.
if all these engineers are thinking about working on an album, mixing an album, recording an album, producing an album, mastering an album, they have to think about the individual songs, yes, but also the full body of work and how they flow into each other and how complex that can get.
Interesting.
Yes. So for example, now we came from a loudness perspective, where if I'm shifting from one song to another, I don't want to hear abrupt. One is loud and then the other one becomes soft, and I have to reach out for my phone. So the mastering engineer also has to create that flow of loudness and make sure that it's not too drastic, where the person listening has to reach out for their phone or their playback device and increase the volume, but they can actually sit and focus on listening the music. So all these engineers have to be, to a good extent, masters of human psychology and how the human psychology works with listening and enjoying and experiencing music. So you have to think about all that. Yeah. If I make this move with my balance, it will throw off the listener here. Or if I want to evoke an emotion, this is what I can do musically or sonically.
Interesting.
So you have to think about that. So now here the mastering engineer takes the work that comes before him and then enhances it. And then packages it in different formats for different playback systems. So this is a person who will master for CD back in the days, master for vinyl, master for cassette, or now in modern day era, master for streaming platforms.
I'm jealous of your students. You guys are getting value like nothing. And I hope mom and dad, you come join the school. So
And send her to class as well. Ah.
I'll be a nuisance. Before we conclude, I have one last question. Then we
Okay.
can hop into an industry conversation, which we've kind of touched on with that album question. In my world, again, when you are, because this is a meal that is being worked on by many people, the recording engineer, whatever engineer, and the mastering engineer. So I'm assuming, because my initial thought process is music producer does everything, exports, finishes. So in my world, exporting a thingy is tying it together. It cannot be manipulated after that, like as individual parts. You have to, if you're gonna touch one thing, you're gonna touch everything. You get?
Yeah.
So I'm just curious, when you are transferring these files between each other, it's the original thing that the music producer was working on. Like when you open, for example, an editing software, you can see where we've layered the sound, the effects, the what, the what, the what. So that's the same thing you're passing amongst each other, just everyone doing their part of the work.
Yes.
Ama, you close it up and then you only touch the things that you can.
Well, it depends, especially if in the music world we use different tools, like the DAWs. There's quite a number. So let me paint the picture. There's a DAW called FL Studio. There's a DAW called Logic. There's a DAW called Studio One. There's a DAW called Ableton. The producer can choose to make their music, produce the music in FL Studio, the mixing engineer can choose to, okay, before I even go to mixing engineer, the beat has been made in FL. The recording has been done in Logic of the vocals and things like that. The mixing has been done maybe in Ableton, and then the mastering has been done in Studio One. So you see, those are different DAWs, they work differently. So the assets we pass around are the audio files themselves, but they have to meet particular standards of integrity. So when the producer is done and they're sending their beat, they're sending every element kiwa peke yake.
Oh la la. So this person will have to compile it together again, and then...
Yes. So now the mixing engineer, after they received the work from the recording engineer and the producer, and they throw it into a mixing software, they populate everything. So all the individual elements, the mixing engineer throws them into the DAW and they start. But once they are done, the mastering engineer doesn't have to receive everything individually. They can receive the final export of everything, so they can receive one file. But depending on the complexity of the project, a mastering engineer can do something called stem mastering, where they receive groups of the elements, so that if they need to go into something in particular, they can do it, but they're thinking big picture at all times. So the assets are passed around like that.
Interesting.
And like in the video production world, we can have the entire sequence of work done in Premiere Pro, and the occasional Da Vinci in the middle. You see, there's one, but in the music world, there are so many softwares that are out there possible. Even the tools within the software, some are third party. So me as a producer, I can have this particular instrument, but the other, if I have two music producers, for example, working together, I have these, but we don't have what we have. So we have to export them in such a way that the other person can use, and still be quality-wise.
Music is such a big project.
It's a big project. Every song, oh my God.
And I'm thinking about it like all this for a 3-minute song. And I'm not saying, let me tell you, I love good music, so I appreciate all the effort. But now, now I understand Lucas from Ogopa, because everyone used to, I'm imagining how much work that was back then.
Yes.
No wonder, like, you'll stay 1 year before you get your nini.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah. So when we come back, ladies and gentlemen, before we go, is there anything in this nini that you'd love to have involved that maybe I'm cutting you?
Oh yeah, this is the part where people need to understand why players in the music industry price their work the way they do. It's a very touchy subject.
Yeah.
But when in class, I talk to my students about this, how they price and value their work. It's very sad that someone has to come to me and tell me, Hendrick, I want you to produce a full track end to end. So I wear all those hats that I've talked about, and they want to pay me 10K. It's an affront. It's like, no, it's okay. Maybe we are not a good fit. It's okay. Please find someone who can do the job.
This is a good segue into our next conversation, because I wanted us to talk about the saturation in the music industry and maybe how you've been able to differentiate yourself. And we can even have this pricing conversation, maybe not into all the details, but understanding the importance. Because when you said somebody wants to pay you 10K, I automatically assumed, well, maybe that's not going to be a good song.
Yeah, that's not going to be a good song. I won't even put my all in it.
And even as a consumer, I already know where I've placed that. What's happening today?
What wanakutafuta?
I know.
In demand.
I know. It is. Well, I apologize for that. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, you know the conversation we're about to have after this break. It is my pleasure to have you guys here. My name is Sado. And we are seated with Hendrick Sam. Yeah. This is where your passion becomes a profession, where creativity finds direction. This is ADMI.